Mom, this is my decision. And I see a better future with Rick Scott.
Sometimes it's hard to let go of old styles, but it all worked out in the end because Brittany said yes to Rick Scott.
Oh, yeah, a new ad from college Republicans and their national committee. The ad, a spoof of TLC's reality show Say Yes to the Dress, is part of a new series of spots targeting young female voters. Republican National Committee Chairman Reince Priebus says he finds the ad quite clever, but critics, well, they say it's both condescending and tone deaf. Imagine that. Let's bring in our panel to discuss it and the upcoming midterms. First of all, we've got Kirsten Kukowski, the Deputy Communications Director and the National Press Secretary from the Republican National Committee. She is Skyping in from our nation's capital. And meantime, from Madison, Wisconsin, with a different view of things, Josh Orton, the Senior Advisor for Progressives United. He also served as a leadership aide to Harry Reid back in the days when he prowled the halls of the United States Senate. So, Kirsten, let me get to you about this ad. Are you surprised that critics call it condescending and tone deaf?
I'm not surprised. I've been hearing the same trumped up language from the Democrats for years out here. Look, I think a lot of people watch TLC. I do not. A lot of people watch Say Yes to the Dress, and I think those same people who are watching Say Yes to the Dress are going to find the ad clever. And I think anything that we can do, whether it be from us or from any of our counterparts like the college Republicans, I think that it's a good thing that we're reaching out to new voters and trying to do it in creative ways.
So the Republicans had Say Yes to the Dress, or that's going on down in Florida. Josh, to be fair about this, Democrats had Pajama Boy about Obamacare. Now, have both parties failed somewhat trying to hit this key demographic?
Well, first of all, I'd like to meet the consultants who are laughing all the way at the bank. If anything shows that there's too much money in the system, it's this. But look, no, I think Republicans are basically stuck in a 1962 reality about the needs of working women. You know, as women are looking at issues like equal pay and paid maternity leave, Republicans are talking about a reality show. And I don't normally say this, but I would actually like to see Donald Trump's apprentice, because all of these people should be fired.
Oh, well, Kirsten, we hear this skepticism and those predictable criticisms of Republicans. How would you respond to Josh's assessment?
Well, I think that was a very clever line. I think that this is all just grasping at straws. Let's be real. Anytime we are talking to a different demographic in trying to find ways to communicate with them, I think that it's a very positive thing, and we should continue doing it. It's not for every person, and that they did testing. They understand that. College Republicans and their consultants totally understand that. But frankly, it does well, and I think we should, 32 days before the midterms, I think we should keep doing it. I think that it's unfair for the Democrats to keep trying. We need to lower the rhetoric a little bit on the Democrats.
Well, I understand that there's always niche marketing, and I can certainly appreciate a clever ad, but I think there is something to this notion that these ads have a feel as if there's 50 and 60-year-old men sitting in a back room thinking, well, how should we appeal to women? They like getting married, right? There's a show about that. We should try and do that. My old teachers used to tell me not to prove my ignorance in class, and man, this really reeks.
Well, wait a minute, Josh. Who came up with that notion of Pajama Boy? That goof sitting around with a big cup of coffee in his flannel pajamas. That didn't exactly seem to be culturally or demographically attuned, now did it?
Well, I guess not, but that was just one image of a guy. It wasn't really making a point about what women want or how to appeal to those voters. This is about a Republican Party out of touch with the needs of women.
So out of touch, huh? Well, it's interesting. Last word in this. We're going to continue after the break. You got 30 seconds. Go ahead, Kirsten.
No, all I was going to say is there's Pajama Boy. There's also Life of Julia. We've seen the Democrats do this time and time again, and I would actually urge everyone. Josh has his facts wrong. This ad was created by 6 women. The college Republicans actually put out a picture of the 6 women who created this, and I think it's unfair, and it just continues this kind of misleading voters, and it needs to stop.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to stop right now, but this is just round 1. we're having you back again, as you very graciously have consented to stay. It's round 2, and among the points we will make, a rare point of unanimity between our friends Josh and Kirsten. They see political issues differently, but find out that note of unanimity when we come back on America's Forum. Back now on America's Forum, continuing our conversation, Kirsten Kukowski of the Republican National Committee in Washington, D.C., Josh Orton, senior advisor to Progressives United, Skyping in from Madison, Wisconsin. Now the moment of truth before we get to issues that separate you two. There is a bit of unanimity, and Kirsten, I understand it has to do with the place where Josh joins us from today.
Indeed. Go Badgers. We play Northwestern this Saturday.
So there is a point of unanimity on the gridiron. You heard it here, involving the Wisconsin Badgers against Northwestern. Now to some things that you might have a different take on. 3 key races in the U.S. Senate coming up a month from now, the midterms. Democrats have been doing, well, they're having a tough time. 3 states we want to concentrate on right now: Alaska, Arkansas, and Louisiana. In Alaska, recent polling shows the Republican Dan Sullivan taking the lead against the incumbent Mark Begich. Kirsten, is Sullivan going to surge to victory?
He is. I think we're feeling really good in all of these 3 states that we're talking about right now. The polls have really come our way. 32 days. We have to, keep our head down, and we need the grassroots to come out and keep knocking on doors and getting this information, help get those absentee ballots back, returned like we need them to. But all things are going really, really well.
Well, let's talk some about the Democrat, Begich. What's going to have to happen, Josh, for Mark to pull this off?
Well, look, everyone knows that Alaska is a notoriously difficult state to poll. But I think the interesting thing is we heard from Republicans months ago that these 3 races were absolutely locked up. And so now that we find ourselves a month away from the election and with the polls tightening in a dead heat, look, I'm happy to see Republicans dancing in the end zone about these races, but I really actually think they're going to be quite competitive. Republicans have run 3 guys who are very out of touch with their states in Alaska, Arkansas, and Louisiana. I'm still optimistic in all 3.
All right. Well, speaking of Arkansas, 6 years ago, the incumbent Mark Pryor ran unopposed. Kirsten, you have to be pleased with the progress that Tom Cotton has made as an incumbent member of Congress trying to move up to the Senate.
He's a very attractive candidate doing all the right things in Arkansas. I do kind of have to laugh at what Josh is saying. We have never said that these races that we are going to run away with them. These are red states, yes, but we're running against incumbents who have had infrastructure in place for years. Most of them have famous last names that are helping them in each of these states. We understand that they're going to be tough races, but we understand that we also right now have done everything that we need to do. We put our ground game on the field. The polls are going in our direction, and our candidates are really doing what they need to be doing.
So, Josh, Mark Pryor, his dad was a popular politician in the state. Will it be a family thing that helps Mark stay in the Senate?
It's interesting, going back to the first segment about saying yes to the dress. It's interesting, Tom Cotton, he's been pushed on things like renewing the Violence Against Women Act and equal pay. I think a lot of these guys are still out of touch with a very key demographic. And so, I understand that right now it's a process argument about the polls tightening, but I have to think that at the end of the day, when the voters look at these Republicans, they're going to see people who are out of touch and are looking to advance their political careers above all else.
Lightning round on Louisiana, 20 seconds each. Mary Landrieu, is she going down, Kirsten? And what happens in this jungle primary?
You know what, jungle primary, we're going to do very well. I think it's going to be hard. Her favorability ratings are barely at 40%. She has issues with the flights that they took on the taxpayers' dime. There's also issues with where does she actually live? Does she live in Washington, D.C.? So I think that we feel pretty good about Louisiana right now.
What about it? Is Mary going to hang on? Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to ask that question of residency to Dan Sullivan. No, look, I think that we see Cassidy campaigning with Mitt Romney and the sort of 1% problem. And I was actually going to ask whether Sarah Palin has come down to campaign for the third party down there yet, because I think Republicans are even divided about whether or not they want another 1%er in the Senate. I feel good about this race as well.
All right, we'll see what happens. Last word there to Josh. Josh and Kirsten, we thank you very much for your insights on the upcoming midterms. Now, straight ahead.